Hello everyone, today I will explain how the world of the god of war works, briefly and logically explain how measurements work, so let's go!
So is this a continuation of the Kratos we've already played as, or is this a new incarnation? Are you talking about that yet?
Continuation.
Okay.
So it is like the way I kind of see the mythologies is kind of like that Hubble telescope image of all of the galaxies.
The
right?
ultra deep field.
Yeah. So that image shows the universe with all of its individual galaxies. Each galaxy is kind of like a representation of a mythology, and sort of wrap that around the Earth. And at any given moment, all of these mythological belief systems existed. They all deal with a creation myth around their region. It's just separated by geography. So that while the height of some of these, what I would talk about was the idea that all the mythologies of the world are kind of like this Hubble telescope image. They are like galaxies individually spread out throughout a complete universe. And the world is the universe. And all the mythologies are sort of origin stories of various cultures throughout the world, beginning at the beginning of time and stretching all the way out. So at any given time, all the mythologies exist together concurrently, and they are simply separated by geography. So it's important because some people had the conception that, hey, Kratos at the end of God of War 3 destroyed the world. Well, he destroyed what they believed the world was in Greece, which was their world. Everybody believed their world was the only world. In fact, we still believe that today.
Let me explain. It is all these mythologies that are galaxies, and the fact that mythologies on one flat Earth do not refute anything. Because that's what geography is for in this interview. Cory Barlog bluntly says that every mythology is geographically divided and that every mythology takes place at the same time and everyone has a story about the origin of the universe and everyone has their own systems and systems of beliefs and different cultures and all these interpretations are true. This is confirmed in their post by both Cory Barlog and mythologies. And now every mythology has its own belief systems and different cultures, and that every mythology takes place at the same time, and every mythology has its own story about the origin of its universe, and everything is divided geographically. That's what geography is for. Even Bruno said so. So I don't understand Kratos haters who specifically belittle the god of war's level. So even though everything happens on one flat Earth, this one flat Earth contains these mythologies and realities and universes, and this is explained by Cory Barlog and mythologies. They explain how mythology works. And the words of Cory Barlog are confirmed by mythologies. And Cory Barlog himself says in his posts that every god created his own universe. Geography plays the main role even though, as I said, there is one flat planet in God of War, but it is one flat planet and contains universes, so I hope that I have explained and shown the scans in detail. And so I explained the context and showed the scans and proved that mythologies represent universes. As we can see, I existed when there was no Earth, and it represents the Earth and the entire universe. Helios lights up the whole world and drags his chariot around the world in a circle, and every time he turns circles and lights up the world. Poseidon is the king of the seas and oceans all over the world. Now let's talk about the underworld. But first of all, the underworld is separated from space and from the Greek universe. The underworld also contains races, which means that the underworld has its own outer space. And as we see in the novel, Kratos drains the universe, but he is taken away by the hands of Hades and dragged into the portal. And let's deal with one more quibble that Kratos haters like to use. They say that Kratos could have left the underworld and that the underworld is endless. But now I'll explain why Kratos haters can't properly study the god of war. All worlds, both the world of the living and the world of the dead, are connected by a chain of balance, and this chain of balance breaks through reality, which makes it clear that the chain of balance has penetrated reality and entered another reality, that is, the underworld. And also strong mortals can leave dimensions and worlds, and Kratos is the strongest mortal warrior. So it's not surprising that Kratos leaves dimensions and worlds. Although in order to leave the underworld, you need the soul of a god and the gates of Hyperion. The underworld has also been called endless and limitless. Now let's talk about 9 worlds. All 9 worlds are surrounded by one space because 9 worlds are interconnected and each of the 9 worlds is located on other planes of existence. Each world has its own outer space with stars like the universe. And each of the 9 worlds has a different space and time. And also 9 worlds have a different reality, which proves that each of the 9 worlds is a full-fledged multiverse with its own unique space. Now let's move on to Egypt. All the headers of Kratos say that he got to Egypt by boat, although he himself. And it was with the help of two wolves that Kratos got to Scandinavia. And so that's it. Subscribe to the channel.